as Dash of Dave. He'll take some scraps and bits of this, turn them into something you can't miss. Junk journals, tapes, and crafts galore. He'll have you begging, show me more. Oh, Dash of Dave, oh, what a sight. Mixing colors, day and night.
Hello everyone, my name is Dash of Dave and I am back for another crafty make. So, today we are going to make this, which I've called an interlocking folio. What you call it, I don't mind, but I've called it an interlocking folio. So I have gone through many generations of making this. I've tried to make it as simple as I can, but there will be some, things that you'll get frustrated with. I'm just warning you. So, without further ado, let's open it up. So what we have is we just have a little slide over band. We've got a pocket at the front here. So we've got a little card in here. I took my time making this prototype because I really loved it. So, and then what it does is it opens up like this, and it is interlocking. It's double-sided, interlocking. We've got a pocket inside here. We have a pocket here. We then flip it over. We have a pocket on the back here, and then we have two pockets inside here. Okay, so we've got that one and then that one. I won't take them both out. So you can choose which is your front, which is your back. But they are interlocking. So, and that's it. So let me just show you. I went through the prototype stages of this. Was my concept. This was my next concept, my more decorative piece. I think it's that way up actually. And then that was the finished one. So both of these will find their way into my collection of Finish It Fridays, just so you know. Which you didn't expect anything less. It's great. Finish It Friday means I get to do all of these prototypes and finish them, which is something unheard of. So we will make this, and although, like I say, it'll tax your brain a little bit. It's not going to be anything that's going to upset you, because I've got the measurements and I've got the stuff to tell you what to do, etc. Like, not tell you what to do or where to go or anything like that. I'm not going to, tell you everything to do. Wash up, tidy up. I'm sure you've got loads of those things to do. I have. I'm not doing those. I'm doing this instead. So. What we're going to need is you're going to need 2 pieces of cardboard or card stock. It doesn't have to be, rigid. You just want it to kind of just hold its own, basically, a little bit. So, yeah. So I'm going to use 2 different contrasting colours this time, just so that it's easier for you to see which one I'm working with. You're going to need a piece that measures 12 by 6. So I'm going to use this to make my 12 by 6. I will cut it to 12 first of all. And this has got a, I say it's got a straight edge. We'll soon find out in a minute whether it's straight edge or not. Is that edge straighter? Who knows? Maybe this edge is straighter. Is that 12? Okay, so I've got a piece that measures 12. Let's hope it measures 12, because like this one's slightly different. My last arm ruler went all the way to the end, and I don't know whether I'm supposed to go all the way to the end. No, I'm supposed to go to the end of the white bit, which is where I've gone. So, and then we want it to measure 12 by 6. So we're going to do, I'm just going to cut this bottom bit off because that's not very straight. And I'm going to then swing it round. And then we are going to do this to make it the 6. Cool. So that's some of my waist. So you've got a piece that measures 12 by 6, but you also want a piece that measures 10 3/4 by 4 3/4. I know it's a very specific size, but that's the way it is. So I know that this one is a right-angled corner, so I will just cut this one to the right size. So that's 10 3/4. Sorry, just to make sure that I did do 10 3/4. I did indeed, by 4 3/4. And that is that. So again, put your waist to one side. And then what you want to do is you want to take your larger piece, which is the green one. So the 12 by 6 is our green sheet of card. And you are going to score it at 3, 6, and 9. And that's obviously then cuts it into those, separates it into those 4 panels of 3 inches each. Then you're going to take your 10 3/4 by 4 3/4 piece, and you're going to pop that on there, and you're going to score it at 1. I should move it a little bit further up so it's easier to do. 1, 2 and a half, 2 and a half. Then we want 5 3/8. So that's 5 and 1. 5, 1, 2, 3/8. Then we want to do 8 1/4. So that's 8 1/4. Oh no, that's not a quarter. That's an eighth, Dave. That's a quarter. And we want to do 9 3/4. 9 3/4. So I'll say those measurements again. So it's 1, 2 and a half, 5 3/8, 8 1/4, and then 9 3/4. Okay, so I just did one of those lines wrong because I was being an idiot. So I'm just going to rub that other one out. There we go. Cool. So there are score lines. So first of all, we're going to take our 12 by 6 sheet, and we're just going to score those in. Now, what you want is 2 to fold in one direction, the other to fold in the other direction. So we are going to do it. So which way round do we have it? We're going to have it this way. So I'm going to fold that one over, and that's just your middle, not center line. So we're just going to put that score line in, and you want to put the score lines in because it's just going to help you at the next stages. And then we will bend the other 2 sides back. So that one, and that's just you just want to make sure your lines are nice and straight now. And then flip it over, bend that one back, and again take the opportunity to straighten that up. And there we go. We're going to set that to one side, and now we've got this kind of M shape or this W shape or a lightning bolt. I'll just put that to one side for the time being, and then we're going to score these in. Again, we're going to fold the halfway line, and again this is going to go alternate. Okay, so we've done the center line in one direction, and do the next line to the left of that in the opposite direction, and the next line in the opposite direction. So flip it over and do the same again. So that line folded back on itself, and then that one. Okay. And then you have this shape. Okay. So whichever side you want facing up is entirely up to you. It's a matter of personal choice, I guess. And what you will have is you should have something that is an opposite fold, and that's what you're going to have in this finished piece. In fact, I will use this prototype one so you can see what I mean. So this piece is this piece here. So this folds the opposite way round to this piece that's in the middle, which is this piece here. So they will interlink like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the hole for this one. So we're going to take the one that measured 12 by 6, and we're going to take this and we're going to measure. What you want to do is you want to cut, so you're only going to cut the 2 middle panels. You're going to fold the other 2 out of the way, and you're going to cut the 2 middle panels so that they are from the edge. You're going to cut at 3/4. Sorry, 3/4, not even 3/4. Let's try that again, Dave. You're going to cut from the edge at 5/8 of an inch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 of an inch, and you can see I've got a pencil line here. That's so I remembered where it was. I am fortunate enough to have a ruler that measures exactly that. So I'm going to use just the width of my ruler. But you will just need to go around and measure 5/8 of an inch. In fact, I should do this to show you. 5/8 of an inch from the top. I'll put a line, do the middle, because I like to do 3 lines. That way, then if you've made a mistake, you're going to spot it instantly. If you do 3, if you do 2, you'll just end up with a wonky line. So 5/8 around from the top, then you want 5/8 from the side. I shall just do this measurement for you so that you can see what I'm talking about. So you're going to do 5/8 from the side. You're going to do 5/8 from the bottom. Do the one a bit further over that way. And then one here. And then we're going to do 5/8 from the fold. So that's the fold. So you want to put your 5/8 line 5/8 from the fold. So we're going to do it from the fold and not from the cut edge. Okay. So again, 5/8 from the fold. And 5/8 from the fold. Now I can just double check all of that with the, like I say, the width of my ruler, and all I'm going to do now is I'm going to join those lines together. So I'm just going to put a pencil line all the way down, joining those lines together, and go around and do a pencil line joining all of those, sorry, when I say lines I mean marks, together. And we're going to go around all 4 sides, just joining all of those lines up, those marks up. Okay, so this is the bit where you might get a little bit frustrated, maybe, because what we're going to do now is, now we've drawn where we need to cut. So these, what you've drawn in here is a cut line, but you're not going to cut all the way, because you just cut it off and you'd make basically giant confetti. So we're not making giant confetti today. That's maybe another video. So you're going to take a ruler and you're going to cut along that line, but just where it intersects in the corner. So we've got a 5/8 of an inch measurement coming down here and one coming across. So you're going to cut from there to the next intersection at the bottom here. Okay, so that stops there to there. Okay, when you are cutting, I'm just going to do a health and safety announcement. When you are cutting, you should always use a metal ruler. Do not use plastic ruler. You're more likely to slip on a plastic ruler. And if you can, use a metal ruler with a fairly thick edge. Now I'm used to cutting with a blade, so I'm fine. But this, you see how this edge is much thicker, and that way then when you're butting your blade up to it, you're cutting against that flat edge and you're less likely to slip and slip into yourself. So that's my health and safety announcement over. You can resume other activities now. So we're going to cut, and remember you're cutting through 2 layers. Okay, so you just want to stop on that other intersection and just, so it's better to cut more than once than it is to try and press down and risk shattering the blade. So cut and then cut again if you need to. Remember, you're keeping these two flaps out of the way. Then we're going to turn it round and we're going to do this next bit, so the bit across the top. And again, we're going to go from this intersection to where we've cut. And we're going to stop at where we've cut. And then we're going to turn it round. We're going to do this side. From the intersection to where we've cut. From the intersection to where we've cut. And then this time we're going from the intersection of the pencil line to the cut line, again to another cut line. We're just going to go all the way around it, and then you should find that that middle bit pops out. The front layer might just do it anyway. The back layer, you might just need to just recut the corners just to get your piece of card to come out. There you go. So those pieces of card, keep those. You can use them for pockets and all sorts of details on the rest of it. Okay, so now you've got what we had on the prototype, which is here, where you have this cut middle section. Okay, that's what we want. So again, we're just going to put in all of them folds just to make sure it stays nice and folded. Okay, now with your outer piece, so this is your outer, with your outer piece shaped like a tent, like you've got a terrible tent because it's going to let all the weather in, but with it shaped like a tent, now this is when you're going to feed this piece in. So this piece now should fit nicely into that gap. Now so this one is a little bit tight. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if you have that, you want to cut this one down, but you just want to cut a fraction off it. You don't want it to have you don't want there to be too much of a gap. So you're going to cut, I'm going to cut about 1/8 of an inch off, not even 1/8, probably a 1/16 of an inch. It's probably because I didn't measure it correctly, or there's a slight variance on measurements and things. What am I doing? 3/4 of an inch. I think there's just, a slight variance on it. I think that's all there is, and that's fine. Just just be aware. Don't get frustrated that it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. You just want to take 1/8 of an inch off it. There you go. There we go. We've took an 1/8 of an inch off rather than a 1/16. So now just fold back in all of those things, all those lines. And remember, when you're putting this into here, you don't want it to be the same, you don't want it to replicate the same mountain valley shape. You want your center to be the opposite. So this is a mountain, you want this one to be a valley. So this is going to go into here, and this time it fits nicely, and that's how we want it to sit. We want it to sit nicely in the space that this allows it to drop down in, and this to stick up. And what we're going to do is we're going to that now, once it's in there, we're going to flatten it. Okay, so how are you going to get, so you can't now see that center fold. That you can see this center fold, but you can't see that one. So how are we going to make sure that it's in the right place? That's really simple. What we're going to do is we're going to line this fold. So if we're looking from the middle, this fold, which is the next fold to the right hand side of the center, and you want to make sure that that is on that same line. Okay, that same fold line. And then what we're going to do is going to stick this down to here. So this is your flap, this is your glue flap, and that's going to stick down. Okay, so you want it to be flat. It should flatten out completely, and all the lines should then, okay, so all your lines will line up when you just pull it together. So this this one will always stay bent. So let's show you on this, because I think you just need to see what I mean by this. So this one, when you flatten it out completely, this middle one goes flat, but this one never does. There's a bit of give in that, and that's the reason for that. Is if they both went completely flat, when you went to fold it back up again, you would find that they'd all be clashing with each other. You'd get it stuck in the wrong bit. It would end up being that this fold ends up the other wrong side of this. So I've just done it so that when you're pushing it together, you might have to push it from the back, but when you're pushing it together, it sits nicely together. Also, it doesn't hang over the middle. So first of all, what we're going to do is, like I say, we're going to line this one. So the center, from the center right, we're going to line this one up with this line. That means that this one won't line up with this line, but we're not going to worry about that one. We're looking at this one first. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over and we're going to glue on here. Now if you want to do any inking and stuff, this is your time to ink. I would recommend that you do all your inking. In fact, I'm going to take it out, that you're going to ink all of your edges first. Right, I'm going to ink it and come back to you, just so we don't end up being confused.
If a mirror flies across the screen, he's creating magic like you've never seen. Dash of Dave with paper dreams, crafting worlds, or so it seems. Jump to joy with every page. Watch him set the stage.
So I've inked all of mine, so I'm going to put that back in where it belongs, which you remember going in here, and it's the middle line is the opposite to that one. So then we're going to flatten it out, okay, and we're going to pop this line, which you can see clearer now, this line against this line. I'm going to fold the tab back and we're going to glue this tab down. So like I say, much easier now to do your inking now than when you've got it all interlocked, because you'll find it really difficult to get into the space that you need to. So just one final check, make sure that line is nice and straight, and that this kind of sits kind of in the middle of that gap, and then stick that one down. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to do the other side. So you can either do it this way round, so again you're just going to pull that line this time so it buckles in the middle, so it should stick up, and that bit should kind of want to be lying facing down if you've got all your creases nicely. We're going to put that line on this line here, and we're going to fold that bit back, and we're just going to glue this bit. Just want to make sure you've got a decent amount of glue on there. You know your glue, you might need more or less or whatever than I do, because you want to make sure it sticks, because that's going to be the stress part. That's going to be the part that holds it all together. So once you've got those stuck, then what you should be able to do is then you should just be able to, you might need to encourage it a little bit. You should then just be able to fold it up, and it should all interlink and fold nicely without any of these edges sticking out over the edge. It won't stick out. It won't stick out at the back either. And that's it. So that is your interlock. Now, however you choose to decorate it, you choose to decorate it. So you'll have lots of bits that you've cut off. So this is a great opportunity to use some of these things that you've cut off, because you've got this contrast. Because I've used two different types of cards. You can use the same card or whatever you want. You can use pattern card or whatever. So, you know, for instance, if I've got a green area, then I might use a contrast piece that will stick on the front and make a pocket. You could make a pocket, you could make it as a band, you could, in fact, should we do that? Should we make it as a band on the front? We'll use this piece if we're going to make a band on the front. So we'll use a band, or that'll be the back, because otherwise all the writing's upside down. So we will put that on the front and we will have it as a page band. Yes, it's a page band. You know me. I do not like that other term for it. So I'm just gonna. Don't like that word. So it's a stomach band. Although that sounds like you're going on a diet. Okay, so pop that on there. Oh, look, there's a little handy little line there that just means that we can cut that off there. Let's try and get that straight though, Dave. I'm just going to cut that there. We'll pop that on the front, and this time we will have a band on the front. All that's left is a band of gold. All that's left of the dreams I hold is a band of gold. Yeah. I don't know where that came from. That's an old song, isn't it? That's like it's from about the same sort of time. I don't even know that it was it made it across the pond even. So, or even if it came from across the pond, it could have done. I don't know. But it's a bit like tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. Yeah, that one. Showing my age. Well, actually, they're my sister's tracks. That's my excuse anyway, so I'm sticking to it. They're the things that I grew up listening to from my sisters playing them. So the same with where's your mama gone? Where's your mama gone? Little baby gone. Little baby gone. So oh dear. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Am I sorry? I don't know. Am I sorry? I'll let you decide. Is he really sorry? You know, he's singing it. Is he sorry? So on the back, shall we have another band, or shall we have? Oh, what should we do? Should we have a pocket? So well, let's get all of the bits in first, and then we can abandon this one because we've got a ready-made one anyway. So I reckon we're going to go. So bear in mind this is 3. Let's go with a 1.5 inch wide piece by 4 3/4 because we know that's how high it is. No, it isn't. That one's not. That's 4 3/4, Dave. We want it to be 6 by 1.5, I reckon, which is halfway. And we'll have like a side pocket. I'm just trying to do anything to stop myself from singing, basically, because it's been raining here enough, thanks, without me adding to the raininess of the day. But you know I like to burst into song randomly, so at every given opportunity. It's not even like it just happens here. It happens at work. People just say something. I think I was talking to Corey about this. Like, people just say something and they just happen to mention a word and there's a song for everything in my head. So basically I could, you know how like some people have their you know, when like people are reliving their life story and they do the musical version, and like that's basically what I've got. I've got my musical written in my head already. So, so I've kind of gone a bit hot and sweaty because I'm slightly. I was going to say I'm slightly embarrassed, but I'm not really embarrassed. I don't get embarrassed in that way. It is what it is. I am what I am. Yeah, alright, Dave. Enough of that. I just want to ink those edges that I've cut now. So yeah, you can decorate it however you like. I just like the fact that it's a little bit interactive. It's just a little bit different. It's a little bit of something that, you know, you can... People like that kind of thing. Something a little bit... Oh, that's different. How did you make that? Sort of thing. And you know how easy it is. You don't have to tell the other people. You certainly don't have to tell the little people. The little people. Okay, so enough with that, Dave. So we've got a little pocket on the back and we've got a band on the front. That's all that's left of a band of gold. All that's left of the dreams are whole. So for the first few times you will kind of just, as you're closing it, you might just have to push that middle bit in to close it up. But after a while of opening and closing, it gets like muscle memory. I mean, there are no muscles there. Well, it's probably got more muscles than I have. And it will get used to just folding in the right sort of places. And then you can decorate it however you like. You know, you could even have like a little hidden pocket down the back of here, for instance. This one you can see, the back of this panel, but this one you don't really see. So you could put just a little pocket in there, or a tuck, or something, or a fryer tuck. Don't ask me what I'm talking about. No idea, no clue. So I will just pop a little pocket on there, and again, these measure 3 inches wide, because remember this is all 3 inches. So when these interlock, this panel, this middle panel, is also 3 inches. So 3 inches wide. So as long as you're cutting your pocket slightly shorter than that, so it doesn't interfere with the mechanism. So you could do 2 and 3/4. Do this one up 2 and 3/4. Should I do? Don't use this piece. 2 and 3/4. And then we can just make a couple of pockets. Again, we'll put a little divot in it. Denotes it's a pocket from my perspective. I can just ink that. I might round those corners. In fact, I will round those corners. Just put the two together and round it. Oh, hello. Oh, they're going to join a circus at this rate. Oh, ow. It got me in the eye. Poker face. But yeah, okay, don't sing Poker Face, Dave. You don't want Lady Gaga coming at you. Don't know. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't even know what I was saying. So anyway, yeah, kind of flicked into my eye. So then, again, we'll just do round 3 sides, all the way around the edge, like Buffalo Girls go. Around the outside. Pop that on there. So 2 and 3/4 sits nicely just inside either fold. And we'll do that one. And I think maybe that one's terrible. That one's made of that really small pocket. That came so far in around the glued edge. Put those on. And then I will leave that for whenever I do a Finish It Friday, I can choose what I want to do with it. But there you go. That gives you just a bit of an idea. So remember, oh dear, that didn't go very well, did it? Just moved the whole thing. That's a good opportunity. I think it heard me and went, oh, okay then, if you're not happy with the glue line, let's do that again then, Dave. All right, I will. I'll try and take full advantage of the fact that I did that horribly wrong. So if you want to stick it down, remember this piece, the middle bit, goes flat. That's the outer one that doesn't go flat. So you can push that down. There we go. Cool. And remember, when you bring it together, you might just need to push at the back, and then you can close it up. And then, you can use a band to close it. So let's just show you again the finished article. So this is the one that I finished. Opens out like this, flip it over, and that's what we've made today. So here, flip it over. So you can do that. So just a reminder, the outer piece, so the outer measures 12 by 6, the inner piece measures 10 3/4 by 4 3/4. And that's it. So you can go away and make an interlocking piece. I don't know why my microphone wire wants to be in shot today, but it does. So yeah, there we go. So hope that's something you'll give a go of. If you do, please tell me that you're going to. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like, share, follow, and you can always comment, because you know I've caught up with my comments now. It took me a while because I had a bit of a break when I didn't have a car and I had a bit of a crisis going on. So yeah, back up to snuff with that, and yeah, comment and I will reply as soon as I'm able. Might not happen instantly. There's often a time difference between us, and also I have a job to do. So other than that, I will speak to you all very soon. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you on Wednesday when I'm doing something else crafty. Don't know what yet. But I'll see you then. So thanks very much for watching. My name is Dash of Dave, and I love you all without exception, until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, folks. Lots of love. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Bye.